Hello, Gemini. Hello, Gemmy baby. How are you doing? Feeling good on this evening. I kind of procrastinated heavy today to get this reading out to you guys, Gemini, but I just kept getting that nagging, you know, feeling of do the Gemini reading, do the Gemini reading, do the Gemini reading. So, when I get those pulls to do something, even if I'm not really trying to do it for that moment, I do it anyway. Coming to you guys looking real natural tonight. Washed my hair today. Did a hair mask, and I have not done anything with it. But with these videos, I try to show up as me because it's not about what I'm wearing. It's not about what I look like. It's more about what I'm saying than anything. Nobody looks perfect all the time. So I'm not even going to try to do that to myself because that's just not true. I'm a mother of three. And I have a full busy day that starts at like 6 in the morning, and I'm usually awake till about 10, 11, 12, depending on what's been going on with my energy for the day. So anyway, Gemini, let's get into it. We are going to be doing the October monthly reading. Now this month, all the readings are about an hour or more long, which is what my 60-minute readings look like. They're that detailed. It's not always the same decks as I have other decks. I have about 10 or 12 decks, but I use just, the 3 decks or whatever the case is. And then of those decks, I pull 6 cards. My minis are like 3 or 4 cards. So this is the last month probably that I'm going to be doing the hour-long ones. There are 12 signs in a month, and I talk a lot, and there's usually a lot of information that comes out. So I'm thinking I'll probably be doing the minis for my readings and kind of what that looks like moving forward. Once I get that mapped out in my mind how to do it. Gemini, we're doing October 2021 this month. It's damn near over, so I'm going to be spitting out October. I'm going to be spitting out November monthlies here very soon because I would like to try to get those done in the first portion of the month because I have so much that, I'm wanting to do and so much that I'm wanting to try and so much that I'm wanting to create. And that's very Gemini energy. The busyness, the hustle and bustle, the moving. So, anyways, I'm going to be pulling 6 cards from the deck, really 7. 6, which is the main set of cards that I pull, has to do with the connection to the inner child and connecting to our inner child. Our inner child is 3. If you have no information or want more information on what is the inner child, I have pre-recorded 2 videos kind of explaining what the inner child is. Everything on there is very loose. I was super tired when I did that video. And it was just really late, and I had done some other stuff that day, some other videos too, so at the end of that video, I just wasn't even talking right. The 6 cards have to do with getting in touch with the inner self, the inner child. I recorded 2 videos on that if you want to go ahead and look into that. And then I'll be recording more as time goes on because it is a very, very, very broad topic. There's so many questions that could be asked, so many different ways to go about things. So we'll get into that. The 7th card that I'm going to pull, it is from the Loving Words of Jesus deck, aka the Loving Words of Yeshua. Loving Words of Yeshua. And so for those of you who don't know, Jesus' real name is Yeshua. That is his actual name. Back when he was born, the letter J wasn't even out. There was no J sound. It was actually pronounced like a Y when J first came about anyways. So, I'd like to get into the habit, because he is coming back soon, I would like to get into the habit, me personally, of calling him Yeshua. But if you hear me use them interchangeably, it's just because a lot of people know him as Jesus, but his true name is Yeshua. I use a loving words of Jesus card, aka Yeshua, and it's just to sweeten the pot. I always like to try to leave things out on a higher note, and there is power in the word of God, and then there is power in the word of Yeshua. So I do like to use that because it always seems to tie everything back, and it introduces some people who aren't familiar with the Bible. Again, when I use Bible references and everything, it's not about a religion. I don't have a religion, but I was born Christian. I do share some Christian values. I don't believe with anything, but at the end of the day, I believe what I believe. I also believe that I don't need to explain myself because just like, 1 plus 2 equals 3, so does 0 plus 3. There's more than one way to get to. As long as your intention is to get to God, to get to the truth, you'll have it. Seeking you will find, Matthew 7:7. I never forget that one because it's my favorite. Okay. I'm going to use two decks. 3 decks. I'm going to use a Light Seers deck, which is a tarot deck. It's got a real nice, light, vibrant energy. I'm a natural seer, so it's just an extension of myself, really. And then the next set of cards I use is the Energy Oracle decks. The Energy Oracle cards are bigger. They usually have one word on them, and it's really just up for interpretation. A lot of this stuff comes with books, but when you have intuition, you don't need the books, unless you're not confident in your abilities or you're just trying to learn, the trade. This one, because everything's energy, I figured, okay, well, why not pick a deck where everything's, that is an energy deck if everything's energy. It just makes the most sense. Oops. Cards popping out. Okay. Nothing too problematic here for you, Gemini. Nothing too problematic for you here. Okay. Okay. As soon as I pulled that one out, I heard something, so I know what that one's all about. Okay. Let's go ahead, Gem. Let's get into it. Very first card that I see here is Page of Cups. Okay. So let me tell you what I see here. On this card is a guy. He is sitting down. He is looking up towards the sky. There's someone up there floating in the sky. And I see he's got kind of like these rays. It's vibes. It's energy. And the energy is shaped like stars, moons, swirls, whatever. I see a cup. I see 2 people having a connection, some type of chemistry. Like one person's putting their hand like this and the other one's doing it like this. Clouds. Okay, so when I think of cups, I think of emotions. Cups, that is our water sign. So that is our Pisces, that is our Scorpio, that is our Cancer. Me, I am a Cancer. And that has to do with a lot of emotions. When I think Page of Cups and I see this guy sitting down like this, I feel like, Gemini, you may be in your feelings lately. And being in your feelings is something I feel that's new for you. I feel like, or something that's of rarity to you because you're not normally in your feelings. You're more playful and light and, carefree. That's the energy that you give off. But lately you've been in your feelings. And I feel like your feelings have had you thinking about past relationships or current relationships, maybe a relationship that you recently got out of. I feel like the relationship, if this has to do with a relationship, I feel like the relationship that you recently got away from, you thought that the relationship was something special. You thought that there was some type of chemistry when it came to the relationship. But lately, you're not too sure. You're not too sure because you're too in your feelings. You're being more emotional than usual. And you're just stubborn. You are in your feels, but you don't know how to communicate them. And what's crazy about this, Gemini is for the Gemini. Well, it actually makes sense that this would be going on actually. Because Gemini, they are associated with the planet of Mercury. Mercury is the planet of communication, technology, pretty much communication in any form, talking, phones, electronics, things of that nature. Now, if anyone is familiar with anything that's just happened with any of the planetary stuff, Mercury retrograde was something that I believe just ended on the 18th, I want to say. Mercury retrograde was something that threw everybody for a loop. Mercury retrograde was something that most people didn't even believe in until recently. Their lives have been fucked up. Every Mercury retrograde, technology breaks. Usually, well, I won't even say usually. I'll say often it's something like a phone. A phone will crack, a phone will break. Something else, a toaster will stop working, a microwave will act funny, the dishwasher will break, the washing machine and the dryer will act funny. Things of technology will go out. You have car issues. There will be car accidents. Exes, old lovers will try to return back to you. The thing about Mercury retrograde, and if no one is clear on how Mercury retrograde works, when Mercury is in retrograde means backwards, like it's going backwards, because planets can either go forwards or they can go backward. So anytime that a planet is in retrograde, it is going backward. Now, when Mercury retrograde shows up, if we are doing everything we're supposed to do, if we're learning the lessons that God's throwing at us, if we are, and when God throws, the way that God does his lessons a lot of the time is he'll have the same lesson repeat over and over and over again. And sometimes he doesn't always use the same characters to teach you the lesson. He'll use characters of the same likeness or, different people to try to teach you this lesson. This is where free will comes in, Gemini. If you choose not to do something different than you've done before, which means if you choose to get the same result, hoping for something different, this is why every Mercury retrograde you get your ass kicked. Because you're so stubborn and you're too busy trying that you're not doing. Does that make sense? At some point, you have to understand, and maybe it's hard for you because you're split in two. Like sometimes you're sour, sometimes you're sweet. Sometimes you know better, sometimes you don't. It's that dual personality of the Gemini. And those characteristics, I feel like, even though it's opposites, I feel like it's one of those situations with like, which wolf are you going to feed? Are you going to feed the sweet side or are you going to feed the naughty side? And that typically just boils out to free will. I do believe that there can be some balance in being a Gemini and having those two parts to you, those two sides to you. But I feel like with anything else, that comes with patience, that comes with prayer, that comes with understanding and understanding who you are, why you were put here, and why you were created. You can't continue to make the same choices, Gemini, and expect different results from the same choices. It doesn't work that way. Albert Einstein actually said to do the same thing repeatedly, to repeat the same thing and expect a different outcome is the definition of insanity. Because at some point you have to take responsibility that you're driving yourself insane. So if you're in your feelings, I need you, Gemini, to first tap into your intellectual headspace, because I know Geminis are thinkers. I know you're intellectuals. Now, I want to say this, the way that this balances out with having two personalities, I kind of want to do this as like the Sour Patch commercial, because that's the best way to describe it. My son's a Gemini, and it's true. First they're sour, then they're sweet. So obviously your sour side is probably resonates with your ego, your mind, the part that is very earthly. And then I want to say the sweet part. Now, this is just the association that I'm putting because this is what makes the most sense to me in my mindset. The sweet part is associated with the heavenly part, okay? That's associated with the spiritual part. So I kind of want you to think about it, a Gemini, being a person who has an angel and a devil on their shoulders at all time, okay? And it's like, which one do you want to feed? Now, Emotions are nothing but energy in motion. That's what emotions stand for. Because if I cry, the energy of whatever my mindset is on is literally going to produce water in my tear ducts. And that emotion is now energy that is moved in motion. Now, when we tap into our intellectual space, we are using our mind to think rationally. When we act out of this space without thinking, depending on what the intention of our heart is, and that could be passion, betrayal, anguish, because the heart is just, there's just so much that can come from here. Most of it is positive. Most of it is love. But sometimes it can get to a part where it's like obsessive. That's more a Scorpio thing, but you know, everybody, you just never know where the house is in charts. So that's more of a Scorpio thing. I would even say I wouldn't be surprised if some of you had, actually, now that I say that, a Scorpio moon or a Cancer moon or a Pisces moon, something that's making you super emotional here. Something that's making you, I wouldn't even be surprised, because your moon has to do with your intuition and your feelings. Cups have to do with emotions and your feelings. And we're doing a reading for an air sign. Or you could be having just came out of a relationship with a water sign, or dealing with someone who is a water sign, dealing with someone who has your head all fucked up. Because normally you're so intellectual. When you deal with someone who's a water signs act off of their emotions. And depending on whether that person is evolved in thought or unevolved in thought will depend on how they act. And, you know, energy is just something that's undeniable. So if you are an intellectual are dealing with someone who is not an intellectual and goes off their feelings, you might feel like you're fucking going crazy. In this moment, I just need for you to stay true to who you are, which is an actual intellect, and think about this, Gemini. Because I think that the beauty and the gift of being a Gemini is being able to think of things with the angel and the devil. And I'm not saying the devil has great aspects. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm just saying, how do I put this? It's kind of like when someone says the devil's advocate. Like, you have the part of you that tells you what you want to hear. The part of you that's sweet. The part of you that is kind. And then you have the part of you that is blunt, cold, cut, dry, don't accept no bullshit. That's it. That's all. A lot of the times here on Earth, people like to baby themselves. And I'm not saying that that's you, Gemini, because I know that you are a hard worker. I know that you get shit done. But if you're dealing with someone who is unemotional and in their feelings, and you start to feel crazy, you might fall into this trap of kind of just like babying yourself, not giving yourself the tough love that you would give anybody else. And I know that you may feel hurt, wounded, or confused by some of the things that are going on in your midst. I know that it is fucking with your vibes, throwing it off. I know you can't sleep right. You can't eat right. Not in a weak sense, but you're just truly fucking confused. Because intellect and emotion sometimes don't mix. If you are going to continue to deal with someone watery, if they are not evolving and maturing in a mental sense, cut them the fuck off. You need your brain, Jemmy. You are just so intellectual and you're so fucking smart and you're just a force to be reckoned with. But not if your shit's a hot ass mess. And I'm willing to bet you know this. You know, it's a beautiful thing to have feelings, but not at the expense of your intellect. I feel like where maybe in younger years, Gemini, you may have been a little colder because you're not really in tune with your emotions like that naturally in your natural state outside of a moon sign, outside of a rising sign. But I feel like some shit has happened that has transpired that has just got you so fucked up and so pulled back far from who you know yourself to be. It's time to get back in alignment. It's time for you to Be the Gemini boss bitch. I hate to say that. Boss, queen, or king that we know you can be. Because you're selling yourself short. You have so much to give, such a huge gift. The gift of communication. You can help a lot of people because Geminis are also the messengers. Geminis bring messages, God's messages. But here's the thing, because you rule the planet of communication. But what people don't understand is if your head is all fucked up, you can't receive your communication clearly. In the coming days, in the coming months, in the coming years, life is changing. Life is changing. Now, I think it's very important that I come here and I do these readings about the different signs because each element holds a gift. Like if you watch, what is that? The first Avatar. It's that show on Nickelodeon. It's not the Avatar with the blue avatars. It's like the first Avatar. It's the kid off Nickelodeon. If you watch his show, it's a little Asian show. I don't know if it's. I don't know which show it is, but it's something. It's kind of like the Dragon Ball Z shit, but it's the first Avatar. You see how he uses and manipulates all the elements. You see how there are tribes and everything based off the elements. Every person has a special assignment for a reason. Every person was made to be who they are for a reason because guess what? God makes no mistakes. You want to know who is a messenger? Let me give you a prime example of one of the realest fucking messengers out there. Tupac, June 16th, Gemini. Now, if we have, and I'll just get into it real quick because we've got like 5, 6 more cards to read. If you have any knowledge of who Tupac is, and I think everybody has infinite fucking understanding of who Tupac is. If you don't, stop what you're doing right now and go look because that's a problem. Tupac was a thug rapper. He was a street rapper. That was the label that he had earned, but that really wasn't who he is in his true state. His mother and his mother's man, the man he saw as his father, they were involved in the Black Panther Party. So Tupac was raised with very much knowledge of who he was as a black man. He was very aware of the struggles in his black communities. His mother was a crack addict. He didn't have a father. He had a younger brother. He became famous from his love of poetry, which turned into his love of rapping, which he became, but Tupac's not just any rapper. He was no young thug. He's not none of that shit. This is a poet. This is someone who, towards the end, and even in his height, spoke about God. He would do interviews and he would throw God's name left and right, left and right, left and right. Now, if you understand the huge agenda that's going on in this world, and I won't even get into that because that's not specifically my mission, but it is, but not in this moment. His messages were very dangerous because his messages. It's my son. Let me see. It's loud, baby. Sit up. His messages were empowering black people. Whereas the agenda is not to, you can't listen to this. And hold on, let me put Clifford back on. Keeping my son off of YouTube because that is not the move. This is my little Gemini mind right here. I need to keep that, you know what I mean? Someday he's going to be a great communicator for God. Great communicator. But I got to show him the path. We're all here to teach the children, and Geminis are special because you guys are just big ass kids, anyways. That's why we need your mind pure. Geminis, one thing about a Gemini, don't fuck with their shit. But when it comes to the kids, the kids can have the candy. The kids can eat some of this food. The kids can have anything. But Geminis, they don't like to share anything else. Okay. Hold on a minute. No, you can't. You can't. Sorry, y'all. I got my son here. No YouTube. Watch Gemini. Okay. All right. So, anyways, his messages were empowering people that's not supposed to be empowered. If you don't believe me, just check into all the shit that's happened in life. I don't need to explain myself. No, I'm talking to you. Relax. Go ahead and lay back. Okay. His messages were empowering to people that they were not supposed to be empowering. And it just was very clear at the end of his life that he was doing. I mean, he talked about God all the time. I mean, he spoke about why the churches have this overflow of money, yet there's homeless people on the streets. You know, he talked about why black people were the way that they were. And he made it known that, yes, this shit is systematic. Like I said, another conversation for another video. If someone doesn't agree to that, I'm sorry, but like, it is what it is. We know America's a liar. That's just, but again, I'm not going to say too much about that. So, anyways, you need to tap out of your feelings and get into your intellect because it's starting to fuck with you to the point that you're not thinking clearly. And I feel like you've been hopeless and you've given up hope and everything that you've wanted for yourself at one point or another. And I think what shit was the heaviest, dealing with all the emotions and probably dealing with things from a relationship, the dreams and the goals that you have for yourself, they just didn't seem as attainable. Because face it, when someone's dealing with fucking up your intellect, you cannot think clearly. When someone is fucking up your intellect, you are not in alignment with this. And God created us to live from here, Gemini. Okay? So I need you to pull it back. And I need you to tap into your true nature, which is a boss. That's the if I can say anything about a Gemini, that's a boss, okay? Queen of Cups. More cups. Got you in your feelings. Hey, okay? So we got a queen here. She got her hands up. She is one with the water. She can feel everything that's going on. She's in tune with the universe. She trusts her intuition. She trusts the divine feminine that God put in her. She trusts everything. She trusts God. She trusts God. That's pretty much all it is. Okay, so for those of you who have been having a hard time, hold on one second. Get out. Sorry, Geminis. I never have my kids in here when I'm doing this, and this is just so crazy because children. I mean, you guys love children, so it's like, who better to understand that I'm dealing with a child than Geminis? I love how God just here is your tiger. Okay, go ahead, baby. Sorry, Gemini's got to put the children first. Okay, so Queen of Cups. Cups again is emotions. Like I said, that's our water signs. That is our air, or not air signs. That's our Pisces. That's our Scorpio. That is our Cancer. Trust God. That's the very top thing I'm hearing right now, Gemini. Now, emotions are foreign to you. Okay, this is something that's new to you. This is something that you're uncomfortable with. But the one thing that I get from this card is that if you accept the fact that you are a child of God, and if you accept the fact that anything is possible with God, and that God is the mover and the pusher of all, if you start accepting God for who and what He is, you will understand the secrets of the universe. You will understand your feelings. You will understand your emotions. Now, like I said, where you are normally an intellect, because you're an air sign, and air signs are all about intellect, they're all about communication. They can do that, but there's really no understanding of emotions. Now, this is something that is not your fault, Gemini. I am feeling people who were not allowed to have emotions. I am feeling people who feel like if I show emotions, then I've lost, or if I show emotions, then I'm weak. We all have water in us. We all have 60 to well, 60 to 80% water in us. This is why when the moon is full, people start acting batshit crazy. This is even why when different things happen in the planet, we're all low key affected the same, because water is something that can be easily manipulated. It's an easily manipulated thing. This woman has a crown. You can't even see it. There you go. This lady has a crown made out of water. She is sitting in water. She has a table made out of water. It is very easily something that is manipulated. Why? Because we control our emotions. Sometimes when you're untrained and you don't have emotional intelligence and you're not aware of what emotions are, and a lot of people nowadays don't know how to deal with their emotions. That's why they smoke heavily. That's why they drink. That is why they drug, because they don't know how to use their emotions. Now, when we were children, we may have parents who never show emotion. We might have had a single mother who we've never seen cry. We might have had, a father that we only saw operate under the guise of alcohol, drugs. We might have seen some abuse in the family, some abuse in the home. We may have been abused. We may have been taught that if you cry, I'm going to beat your ass. You may have been taught some things that make you actually kind of like fear emotion. Fear can be associated with the unpredictable, with not knowing. And I don't think anyone likes for things to be unpredictable. I feel like, Gemini, you're so smart that you're comfortable being smart, and you don't like to look like you don't know what you're talking about. You don't like to look like you're not smart. And just because you don't know something doesn't mean that you're not smart. It just means that you have not acquired knowledge of that. And it might mean that up until this point, it might not have been God's plan for you to acquire knowledge for it up until now. You just don't know, because God's timing, it's not anything that has to be proved. It just needs to be understood that it's perfect. He's never too early. He never comes too late. Every time is the right time. Like, even if you're not watching this video today, and you watch this video a month later in fucking November, that was the right time for you to see it. I mean, God's timing is it's impeccable. Learn to trust your emotions. How do you learn to trust your emotions? Learn to trust yourself. How do you learn how to trust yourselves? Learn how to trust God. God is a guy. He's this guy you hear about. He's a father that we hear about. He's a father that we might know a little bit about him from here. We might know a little bit about him from there. Gemini, you have tons of friends. How close are you with God, though? Like, how close are y'all? Like, would you consider him a close friend? Would you consider him a distant friend? Would you consider him someone you talk to once a year? Would you consider him someone that you talk to? Don't sit on that. Don't sit on my tank. Let me go. Lay back. You know, the only way that you are going to trust God is if you start to form a relationship with him. Now, inner child healing is the same thing as shadow work, if anyone's ever heard of shadow work. The children are the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. When Yeshua's disciple asked him, who's the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? Yeshua looked over at a small child, and he told his disciples, well, he's the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Why was he the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? Because he is a child. God is a loving God. He is a loving, patient, kind, forgiving Father. And he loves his children, all of his children. We are still his children, but here on earth, you have to understand, as above, so below. For whatever is going on up there, there's the symbolism of it down here. That's what the 8 energy is all about. As above, so below. Infinity. Because whatever's happening here has to happen here. That's just universal law. That's what 8's all about anyway. Children are innocent. Children are loving. Lord forbid someone were to do something fucked up to a 3-year-old. If someone were to tell that 3-year-old, I'm sorry I did that to you, Do you know that that 3-year-old would forgive them? They would trust them to forgive them. No grudges, nothing held. Now that type of fear and everything, that conditioning happens over time because children are just that forgiving. They're just that fucking innocent. And you have that innocent spirit, Gemini. So you're already halfway there. But you need to use that same innocence, that same love for childlike essence in combination with your heart. There's a lot of cold-hearted Geminis walking around out here still loving children. And that's beautiful. You should. But your cold heart's going to be the thing that stops you, because in order to be most like a child, you have to have the heart of a child. Children are lighthearted because their heart is not weighed down. They forgive. And any adult should have at least heard that when we forgive others, we don't hold that weight. If Jim does something to me and I say, you know what, Jim, fuck you, and I don't forgive Jim isn't hurt by me not forgiving him. He may be, but if he's not, I'm not surprised, because I'm the one that's going to suffer. This dent in my heart is going to make me hesitant when I meet new men. It's going to cause me to put up a wall in my heart when I meet new men. So when you hear about the people forgiving for themselves, that's why they're forgiving for themselves, because they know that that's heavy. Children, they don't have that. They're not weighed down by those things, because children's attention spans like this. You know what I mean? They are so easily. It could be an abused child, and they are still able to laugh at small things and cherish and adore. You know, they can still think. It might mess with their personality, but regardless, they still have a heart of a child. It takes some time to make a child cold. So it's like, it's time for you to thaw out the ice. It's time for you to let go of the resting bitch face. It's time for you to unmelt the heart. Because if your heart does not get light, it doesn't matter how childlike you thought you were. It doesn't matter how much you goof and play. If your heart is not in the right space, you cannot go. You know, everything else that we carry, everything else that you carry in your heart, everything else that wall that you've built up, it's heavy. It's too heavy to ascend. It's too heavy. So you've got one of two things you can do, Jemmy. You can keep it. You can let it keep fucking eating away at you, and you can try to hide it with drugs and alcohol, because children don't know how to deal with that. And the only thing is, you're a big child with an ID that says 21 plus or a plug. That's it. So I need you to thaw the ice. I need you to figure out, how can I thaw the ice? Now, if you have the gift of children, because children are a gift, children are a blessing, a gift from God. If you have the gift of a child, use it. Children were brought here to light the way for you back home. See, we come from love as children, and when we come here, we are born into sin to return to love through God's grace, aka the sunlight. Every time we see the sunlight, that's God's grace. Don't ask me how I know, he just told me. So I know every time I see it, it's his grace. Every time it shines on you, me, our children, that is his grace. We don't know it's his grace. We just think it's the sun's come up, it's morning, whatever. No, honey, that's his grace. And he's giving it to you, Gemini. He's giving it to us. And as he continues to give grace to you, he's giving you grace because you have an assignment, because you have a purpose that you have not fulfilled yet. Part of your purpose is children. And part of your purpose is the fact that God gives you messages. But are you clear enough to distribute them? God can't talk to you if you're heavy. God can't talk to you if you are not centered in the right place. God can't talk to you if you don't even think he exists. God can't talk to you because here's the thing, even if you didn't think he existed, and he tried to talk to you, would you hear him? Like, if you were under the influence, and I say under the influence, Gemini, because I feel like somebody been getting tipsy. I feel like somebody been getting lit. Um, if you are under the influence, how can you hear a heavenly holy father talk to you? Now, back in my days of use and abuse and addiction, I can't say that God ever talked to me while I was under the influence of narcotics or alcohol. I can't ever say he spoke to me. I always knew he was real though, but I always wondered, why didn't he talk to me consistently? Why did he just chime in and talk to me? Well, first of all, I was only ever open to receive sometimes because I was always so fucked up. I lived in survival mode. I lived in low vibration. I truly believe the only reason that God was able to talk to me is because I have family members that have pledged their allegiance to Jesus, to God, Yeshua. And when you do that, God blesses your family down to 1,000 seeds. So we're talking about great great grandchildren at this point. And he was just able to, when I didn't understand my emotions, because I'm naturally intellectual. I feel, see everything, read everything. I can hear things. You know, I trust what I see in my sleep and when I'm awake. I trust what God shows me. I trust what he gives me. And so, because I trust him, my surroundings work with me. My environment works with me. Trust God, big time. Because God needs your childlike energy to be pure. When your childlike essence is pure, you can hear the messages. You can show other adults how to be childlike without being childish in an evolved state, in the right state of mind. Four of Cups. You're in your fucking feelings because I got cups all the way across the board. Four of Cups. Okay, I want to show you this card. This is a girl who is sitting down. Okay, she's in her feelings, boy. She in them, and it looks like her feelings are in somebody else's hands. She's just like insecure. Like she's just like, I don't know. You know, I don't. Indecisive. Indecisive. That's the Gemini brain. Indecisive. Because there's too much. There's high mental activity because it's like two brains in one, Loki. Okay. So let me show you how I do this. The cups, we already know that's emotions. There's somebody's hand up there, so somebody is playing on your emotions for one. And like I said, it's driving you fucking crazy. Behind you, okay, in front of you is. Oh, no, 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 no. No, okay, no. Well, yeah, your emotions in somebody's hands, but there's another way to interpret this. In front of you is Earth, 3D Earth. It's the world that we have. Okay, and you got some blessings, you got some things to be grateful for, and you realize, yes, I do have things to be grateful for, but something is missing. You crave, Gemini, adventure. You crave magic. You crave success. You crave investments. You crave business. You want to taste the rainbow. That's what I see. You want to taste the rainbow. There might be an offer made or being made or coming up that will put you closer to who you want to be or where you want to be positioned. And I want to say that this is a blessing, not even in disguise. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. And you can see that it's a blessing. It's so loud and so clear that God's blessing you. And Gemini, your kindness to the children does not go unnoticed, first and fucking foremost. It does not go unnoticed. Things have been hard for you. Things have been hard for you, Gemini. Things have been hard as far as your feelings go. But even when you're having a bad day, there is something in you that still is kind to the children. Now, Satan knows that God loves the children. That is why the children are his focal point. Now, Satan is here in our world, moving and grooving and doing shit his way. And it's very clear if anyone is paying attention. At this point, most of us should be, a lot of us are woke, awakened, we'll say. Because woke, they just made it seem like something. A lot of us are awakened. And in a lot of us being awakened, we notice that there are some things going on out here not in the best interest of the children. Now, you've got Satan on one hand doing what he's doing to the children in the ways and his tricks. And then on the other hand, you have you, Gemini, who even in your worst moment is very kind to the children. Now, we know what's going to happen to Satan, and we know what's going to happen to the people that hate on the children, because God has a special place in hell for them. Pretty sure the Bible says something about tying stone or something to their ankle and having them drowned at the bottom of the ocean. I mean, it's pretty clear about the fate of them. So you would think that if this is how he's moving when it comes to hurting the children, how do you think he's moving in regards to helping the children, to being kind to the children, to showing childlike essence in an adult mirrored into a child?
Not working. Not working, Mom. I'm not working, Mom.
Sorry, give me 1 second, Jemmy. Sorry, Gemini. Sometimes we just got to go with the flow. You know? You understand when the baby wants the phone together, we get the phone together. All right, come on. I gotta click on my YouTube because this shit's, I don't even like what I'm seeing here.
You like YouTube?
No. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Clifford. No, you can't take that out. Mommy's phone's gonna die. Just sit right here.
Oh, tasty, sweet.
Go ahead. All right. There are rewards, blessings, opportunities, but this card was upside down. Now, you are too busy focused on what's in front of your eyes right here, not trusting in God and realizing that he is moving in the background for you, Gemini. Now, it's good to be in your emotions a little bit and to be emotionally intelligent and familiar with your emotions, because then you can become aware of the fact that a lot of us are multisensory. Okay. When we're multisensory, That means that we have the knowing, not, oh, well, there could be some different dimensions and, there could be a God and he could be. No, multi-sensories without a fucking fact know that there's other things going on that the eyes can't see. That's the stuff that's detected with the sixth sense. We are more than five sensory human beings. If you believe that you're just five sensory, then you'll stay just five sensory because that's what you believe. As a man thinketh, so he is. But if you believe that you come from a great, wonderful father who had an upgraded design in mind that's outside of the 5D, then you can easily tap into that. Every day that I affirm who I am and why I was created and the fact that I can see and the fact that I can hear and the fact that God talks to me all the time, I just get more of that in my life. It's only because I accepted it's true, so why not accept the truth? Why not accept the truth when we have all easily accepted the lies? The lies that Satan and his little goons tell. I need for you to get into the knowing. Knowing that there's blessings on blessings on blessings, blessed in the background. I need you to understand this. I need you to know this because this is very low vibrational right here. This is Earth. This is the world we live on. Very low vibrational. This is all high vibrational material back here. But you got to be in the right head space and the right heart space. When God created the head and heart, he designed them to work together, not against each other, okay? The 4 means that it's angels, angel protection. Now, when I say angels, I don't just mean like the angels up in heaven with God. I mean like your grandmother who passed away, your uncle, your aunts, your parents, your family members, your loved ones, your friends, your people who passed away, who are on God's army. And that just depends on how they live their life. That just depends on, how they live their life. I mean, good and bad. I mean, whatever the stipulations were, that you do have loved ones who want you to succeed and who want you to move forward and who want you to excel. And they feel like you need a little bit of a nudge in the right direction. But they want you to know that you are loved, you are guided, you are protected. And you're not being yourself. You're not being true to yourself. You're not the most emotional. But you've been so emotional or so tied up with an emotional person dealing with emotional things that you haven't stepped outside and had that talk with yourself yet. Okay? 36, second chakra, Archangel Ariel. 3 and 6. Go watch Clifford. The second chakra has to do with emotions. That is the sacral chakra. It has to do with emotions. That's your sexual chakra. That's your creative chakra. It's represented by the color orange. You need some emotional healing. I just feel like your emotions have been so fucked up. You cannot clearly think. Even sitting here, I just feel like cloudy in judgment. Like I'm clear with the reading, but sometimes when I read, like depending on what's going on, sometimes I can feel the emotion of what's going on, and I just feel like cloudiness. I just feel like, things giving you a headache, not even wanting to deal with things fully. Just being fucking tired. And I feel like you have been under a little bit more stress than normal with these emotions coming up that you don't really care for or know how to use. Wear more orange. Smell more oranges. It's all about energy too. You may have been feeling a little bit drained this month because it takes a lot to exert emotions. It takes a lot. Like if you ever get into a massive ass fight with someone, and it doesn't have to be physical, it could just be verbal. It could just be one where there's lots of crying, where there's lots of energy expended. You ever notice by the end of it, your ass is tired? You want to take a nap? You want to go to bed? You're sleepy? Archangel Ariel, she supplies your basic needs. when it comes to, and she's an animal lover too, but she supplies your basic needs when it comes to any of the earthly needs that we need here on earth. Now, there is no earthly need that you really need when it comes to your emotions. So I'm just going to say that Archangel Ariel stands in as a symbol of you will get what you need as far as emotional healing. And you can get what you need as far as emotional healing. But you need to think. You need to use your logic to be logical. Excuse me. Be logical and have a talk with yourself about the way that you have been behaving of late. If you have that honest talk with yourself, and the same honest talk you would have with a homegirl or a homeboy or a friend, that same honest, blunt conversation, if you talk to yourself and you're not satisfied with yourself after you are honest with yourself, then you need to make changes. People who try aren't doing. You need to just make those changes and stop making excuses. You're not usually a sign of many excuses, Gemini, in the right mind, but you've been making so many excuses for yourself. You've been making so many excuses for other people. Now you're starting to fall to excuses, and you're not an excuse person. So I agree, Gemini. I know you're not being yourself, because what are all the excuses about? 3 means to spend time with that higher self. The numbers on the card is 36. 3 means to spend time with your higher self. Keep creating that relationship with yourself. How do you do that? You color. You play with your children. Like, really play with them. Play board games. Take them out to play football. Take them to the hotel. If you don't have a pool, take them to a hotel. Rent a room. Go swimming with them. Do fun activities with your child. Don't forget to play, Gemini. I know you're one of those signs like work hard, play hard. I know you like to work, you like to get to the bread, you like to get to the coin, and then I know you like to go out, shake ass, or, throw money at strippers, whatever it is you do for fun as an adult. But what about pure childlike fun? What about coloring in a coloring book? That's good, baby. What about jump roping? What about hopscotch? What about Miss Mary Mac? What about, I know you love games of all kind. What? My phone's gonna die, baby. So you can't. I'm sorry. You want to bring a blanket and a pillow over here?
Yeah.
Go ahead. You want the blankets and the pillows? You need to spend time, and the 6 is affirmation. The 6 after the 3 is affirmation that you need to spend time with your higher self, aka the 3-year-old self. If you have no fucking clue what I'm talking about, I have two.
I'm not do it.
No, just take the blanket and a pillow. Don't take the whole thing. Just the blanket. No, just the blanket, baby. Blanket. Grab one of the pillows. You want a pillow?
Yes.
Grab a pillow, baby. Go. Here, go over there. Go over there. Okay. 6, that just means you need to spend time with your higher self. You need to solidify that relationship. I have 2 videos, part 1 and 2. What is the inner child? And I will be giving more information because it is a broad topic. I'm sorry, I just love the way my natural hair feels. It kind of feels like wool or something. Okay. 3 and 6 is 9. 9 is 9 is humanitarianism. 9 is of being of service. When we feel down in the dumps and we feel bad, one quick fix it to shoot our energy levels up and get us back balanced and realizing who we are and how we can be a blessing of others and how we are a blessing in general. We are a blessing, when God made us, we're all blessings. We all started as children, so we're all blessings, and we have our own gifts and our own, we're also custom made and unique. How can you be of service is the theme. When you do shit for other people, even if it's paying for somebody's coffee, holding a door, helping with some groceries, stopping by a friend's, bringing in a gift, when we do anything good, we feel good about ourselves. Geminis, you are such good people. Such good, kind people. But sometimes you people please. Sometimes you people please so much so that people get used to you being the yes man or the yes woman. You got to start putting yourself first, Gemini. What good will you be to the children of the future if you don't put you first so that you can reach your goal as far as why God brought you here? How can you be aligned with the assignment? See, what is this? Let me see this.
Hold on. I
Okay. How can you be in alignment with your assignment, Gemini, if you're constantly putting others first? If you're not caring about your own well-being, what are you teaching the children? And I only ask you this because you are the big child. You are the grown child. And not a grown child in the way of like, you don't handle shit, because we know that's a lie. Gemini gonna get it handled. You don't put yourself first because maybe as a child you were never put first. Maybe as a child you were never taught that your emotions and your feelings matter. And we've moved into a different time where it is very apparent that our children's thoughts and feelings matter, because that is why so many of us are fucked up. Learning fucked up, you know, ways to deal with our feelings. I read something the other day that said that it's a parent's job to teach their child how to manage their emotions, because when children have emotions, they don't know what they are. It's a new feeling to them. So in order to know how to manage those emotions, they would need conscious parents to help them consciously understand their own emotions. But the way that it has worked out is most people don't have conscious parents. Conscious parenting is something that is on the rise, and it was something that was rising up as my daughter was young. My daughter's 13 now. And I heard this lady on Oprah once talking about conscious parenting, and it stuck with me ever since then because I thought, that's interesting. Conscious parenting is when you are aware of what you are teaching your children while you parent them. You are aware that you have a reality and they have a reality. You are aware that there are two sides to everything that's happening. You have your version, they have their version. It's that awareness. That's what conscious parenting is. So conscious parenting starts to bleed out into the fact that as we deal with other children, we're conscious of how we're dealing with someone else's children. Now we're conscious. Now we're being careful. Now we are using the childlike essence in us, the 3-year-old, to help us raise our children because we're tapped in. Now we understand that every age that our child has is put in place to connect us to who we were at their age so that we start to remember, so that we start to parent from a conscious place of remembrance of what helped us and what was hurtful to us. At a certain age, we just turn into our fucking parents and we forget that we were children. Our parents are the ones that indoctrinate us, and they don't even know they're indoctrinating us because they're so used to the damn indoctrination. Thank God the Matrix is fucking falling apart because we would not know if it was not. You can be of service, Gemini, by being childlike, not childish. Some of the childlike things that you do is amazing. The fact that you can capture that essence as an adult state of mind. The childish shit, however, has got to go. Quit being petty. Because when you're petty, the universe gives you more pettiness. God dishes out more pettiness. Do you want to live through all this shit fighting out pettiness? Or do you want to hurry up and get to the blessings? Because the only way to get to the blessings is to let go of the petty behavior and the petty bullshit. It's the only way. Children aren't petty. Children forgive. Find that balance between being childlike and childish. 2. The number 2. If anybody's seeing 2 or 2 or 2, find the balance between being childish and childlike. There's a difference. Childish people act like they don't know any better. They choose to act like they have no damn sense. They choose to do fucked up things and not hold themselves accountable or apologize later. They choose to deal with someone else's childish behavior because they want to match levels of petty. They don't want to overcome the pettiness, and that's what makes you childish, not childlike. Okay? Wear orange, eat orange, smell orange. Feel like cinnamon. Cinnamon's gonna warm up your emotions. I thought I saw something on cinnamon. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Because I be seeing things. Yeah, cinnamon's gonna go ahead and warm up those emotions for you. Our heart chakra is open right now. Our heart space is open right now. It's been being pushed open. That's why a lot of people are a lot more emotional, don't want to be taken for granted. That's why so many things are, and that might explain why you're in your emotions. Because the heartstrings, they fuck with the emotions. But there's emotional trauma blocking your sacral chakra. It's just emotional trauma. Some things have been said, some shit that you're not over yet. But you got to start doing the work. Now, like I said, if you're dealing with a water sign and they have not evolved and they're too emotional, you don't do that anyway. Let them fucking go. You could be standing in the way and blocking your own blessings by holding on to something that you don't need to be holding on to. And when you let things go, you're allowed to let things go in your own manner. You're allowed to do what's best for you in your own manner, especially if this is a situation where there are children involved, because you need to be sensitive to that, Gemini. I just don't think it's a coincidence that my son is up here with me, who is a Gemini, is up here while I'm doing the Gemini reading, and we're talking about children, and he is a child. I'm feeling God's emphasis for you to get your emotions in check so that you can be emotionally intelligent for children in your life and in the lives of others. Because it's just when you heal that, that's how you show up. And God needs you to show up very strong for the children. Getting in touch with your childlike essence is going to make it easier to hear the messages. Now, dreams. You'll probably get a lot of your messages via dream. I only say this because Gemini's, you're an air sign. You're not a water sign. And water signs are naturally the ones that pick it up in the universe around them. But if you have the gift of being able to pick up things around you, if you have the gift of clairvoyance, if you can see, that might explain why a lot of the water is coming up too, as well as, being in your feelings. So if you are a seer, you may see things when you're awake. You may feel things. But if you are not a seer, if you have no water in your big three, moon, sun, or rising, if water is not in a prominent part of your chart, then you will be receiving your messages by dream, via dream. 11, cornucopia. We think what we create. Even though you have been in your emotions, I will give you this. You do try to keep your head up. Tupac song. Can't make this shit up. You do try to keep your head up. And even though things have been hard, because here's the thing about you. If you're struggling with emotion, you're not struggling with emotion in people's faces. You're struggling with emotion behind the scenes. You're struggling with emotions behind a closed door. Because Geminis are just like a little bubble of energy. And they're like the life of the party. And they're always, And so like Geminis are that person, like if you want to party or like, bitch, if I'm trying to get fucked up, like Geminis, they're the ones you want to be around. Because they like to make people happy. They like to uplift people. That's just naturally them. So while you're hiding all this behind closed doors and you're not being true to yourself and you're not really being yourself, in the forefront, you're smiling. You're being positive. You're being bubbly. You're keeping that poker face in front of people. There might be a select few that you feel like you can be yourself around and kind of let them into the emotional part of you, which you rarely tap into. But because the heart chakra is open, it might just be a little bit easier to be a little bit more honest to some trusted friends. But the fact that you have been positive, the fact that mostly in the forefront of your mind, you've tried to think positive thoughts, cornucopia.